Christian, I want you to listen to something. Probably the best definition of sin you will ever hear in your life is found in verse 6. Each of us has turned to his own way. Christian, the majority of Christians in America today are living according to their own way. They've built their own God, and so every time they worship on Sunday, it's idolatry. They've traded the commandments of God for traditions of men so that Christianity becomes comfortable. And I want you to know, it's sin. You can go no way except God's way. And you cannot know God's way in this popular cultural Christianity that we have in America that is an abomination to God. You can only know God's way when you set upon yourself to study Scripture and study the men and women of God throughout history who have known Him. Very little is worth reading today. Very little written in the last 150 years is worth reading. Because since we no longer have knowledge of God, we've replaced it with methods, and methods don't work. Isn't it interesting, my friend? Isn't it interesting that you go in a Christian bookstore, half the books are written on how to be blessed, and the other half are written on all the problems that Christians have because they don't seem to be too blessed. We're self-absorbed. What you need is a glimpse of the glory of God. That'll straighten out your psychological problems, your emotional problems, and every other kind of problem. God. God. God, 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 God. If you notice, I'm in the Old Testament a lot. Young Christian, I want you to know, I suffered a lot of things in my early Christian life because I paid little attention to the Old Testament. If you're a New Testament Christian, you need to get right with God. You need to be a biblical Christian. If you got an Old Testament professor around here, take everything he's got. Let's start in verse 2. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven or in earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll and look inside. My dear Christian, do you see what happened here? John recognized something. He was without hope. He was totally destitute of life and meaning and hope, of any possibility of salvation, because no one could open the scroll. And he wept and wept and wept. I find it very difficult in our modern day Christianity to see that there's not much tears in conversion anymore. And there's not much tears because no one really recognizes the great need they have. You see, you have to be brought to a place where you weep because you see the holiness of God and you see yourself an abomination before Him, and you weep and there is no comfort and no balm in Gilead because you're lost.